Welcome to Spiritual Breakfast. My name is Jen Weir and I'm your host for this time. I'd love to share with you some spiritual morsels. Many of us make sure that we have breakfast, certainly lunch and dinner, and we might have something like toast or smoothie, perhaps a bagel and cream cheese to fill our physical bodies and give us fuel and energy for the rest of our day. Very few of us remember to take our spiritual food so that we are mentally and spiritually prepared for the day that lays ahead. So today on Spiritual Breakfast, I want to share with you a little morsel that I found in Proverbs 4, verses 23. And it says this: "Watch over your heart with all diligence, for from it flow the springs of life." I'm reading that from the NASB version. And what it means here is watch over your heart. That word heart in Hebrew, it actually means your will, your discernment, and your affections. So think about that. The writer of Proverbs encourages us to watch over what our will is, what our discernment, what we set our affections on. Why? Because from it flow the springs of life. The writer of Hebrew the Hebrew writer was not speaking about the actual springs of life, but more the seasons of life. And so when we think about it, whatever we set our affections on, whatever we set our will, our discernment, and our mind on, from that creates our life, the seasons we find ourselves in. In other words, if you're having a season that you're not particularly fond of, it's not your circumstances around you, but possibly what you set your mind, your will, and your emotions on. These affect all that we are and all that we experience. So for today's spiritual food, I want to encourage you to remember what Proverbs says here, to watch over your heart with all diligence, with everything that you have. And today's oil that I use for this type of thing is called Clarity. It's a blend from Young Living that I love to take in when I'm reading the Word of God and when I'm eating my spiritual food. And as I think about, I want my mind, my affections, my will, and my discernments to be clearly defined. So I take it and I breathe it in. I apply a little bit to the back of my neck and over my forehead. And most importantly, because we get everything that we need from our God, it flows down through the crown of our head, in through our mind, so we can marinate on it and chew on it, and then we are able to transmit it out through the rest of ourselves. I hope you've enjoyed this morning's spiritual breakfast. Remember to tune in tomorrow.